Hello, tank commanders of the Blitz universe. It's MajorDangle here, coming to you from USD2 today. And I just wanted to make a quick video talking about game settings and certain features newer players might not know about yet. I know this won't be the most exciting video in the world, so I'm going to try to move on rather quickly. To access your game settings is in the bottom left of your screen. This little gear, go ahead and click on that. You'll see the general settings with your email user ID. You can link accounts from Nintendo Switch, Game Center, Google, Steam, Facebook, Microsoft, and Apple. And if you're like me, you have multiple accounts. This is also where you would disconnect and connect to another account. You have stuff like account management, game support. This is also where you would enter bonus codes. To enter a bonus code, go ahead and click on that, enter the code right there, click activate, and you will receive whatever rewards are associated with that code. Moving on to graphics. Now, my computer is about 4 to 5 years old. It's not the greatest, it's not the worst. My game seems to run best when I have the medium settings on. If you have an older phone, older PC, older touchscreen device where the graphics just aren't up to par, there's a few graphics I would recommend turning down to make the game run better for you. One of them is the water quality. While it's nice to see that nice water on those maps, it really doesn't affect our gameplay other than hogging graphics resources. So I would suggest turning this to the low setting. The game will run much better and the water still looks fairly nice in battle. The object and terrain quality, tank quality, effects quality, draw distance, I would highly recommend you keep at least medium settings. If you can run them at high, great, do it, but run at least medium settings for these. This next setting, the fog quality. Now, I don't like fog on any map in this game, especially a map like Middleburg. It just does not look good. I like to have this setting ultra low. The maps look so much better. The game runs so much smoother. I would highly recommend to run this setting on ultra low. You have stuff like anastrophic filtering, full screen anti-aliasing. You can change your frames per second, turn camouflages on or off, flora quality on or off, shadows on or off. You got stuff like grass and aiming mode. Now, this setting I like to have off. When I'm zoomed in looking at an enemy tank ready to fire, I do not like seeing the grass in my screen. I think it affects my shot. I like to have this setting off so you don't see the grass when you're zoomed in. The next one is shell hit marks. I like having this setting on. This shows in game where you've been hit on your tank, and it'll also show you in the garage right after battle where your tank was hit. You'll see the marks on your tank. You can turn full screen mode on or off. You can change your suspension characteristics. If you have this setting off, your suspension won't move at all. It'll look static. You're going over bumps. It's not going to move at all. If you have it on, you'll see your tank tracks flexing over rocks, hills, and stuff. It looks nice. I would suggest having this on. It doesn't use a lot of resources. The tank or track traces, this essentially just shows where you have driven. You're not looking behind you a whole lot in battle anyways, hopefully. I would suggest having this setting off. The track traces disappear over time anyways. A big one is the HD textures. If you don't have a great graphics card, I would suggest turning this off. The HD textures look really nice having them on, but if your graphics just can't handle it, turn them off. Your game will run so much better. Moving on to controls. As you can see, there's touch controls, keyboard and mouse controls, and gamepad controls. I play on PC mostly, so I use keyboard and mouse. I don't know who would use a gamepad for this game because you would need an auto aim or something. I don't know how you would hit the enemy tanks. Anyways, you can change the mouse sensitivity. You can invert your zoom, reverse zoom. And you can see down here, if you don't like the default keys that Wargaming gives you to control your tank in game, you can change them at any time just by clicking on them and assigning a new key to them. This is also very helpful to look through so you know what keys to press in battle to say the right thing. If you need help in battle, it's F7 right there. If you want to know how to change your shells in battle, because I see players shooting HE all the time and they don't know what they're doing, newer players, this is how you change your shells. Press 1, 2, 3, or whatever you have it set at. How you use your consumables. If you want to tell your team you're driving to base C, you got your team chat, general chat, platoon chat, quick commands. These are very helpful, and I highly suggest you look at them and learn what keys do what in game. Moving on to markers. Markers tell you information about the tanks in battle, whether it be your allies or your enemies, and you can change these settings at any time. You can turn the tank icon on or off. I don't find it necessary in battle, so I turn it off. Having the nickname of the player is very useful. If you're going up a player, say like me or Droodles, you know not to YOLO them or something. Yeah, I'm just kidding. It's nice to know the player's name in battle. The reload icon above tanks, this only applies to ally tanks, but it's nice to know when your teammates are reloading. That's when you can step out and cover for them while they are having their reload, especially if it's a long reload. You can have the tank tier on top of the tank or not. I find this helpful if you're a newer player, you don't know the tanks yet. If you see that the tank is a higher tier than you, you should know not to YOLO them or 1v1 them. So this is very useful. The tank hit points, that's very useful. Keep that on. Tank type, tells you if it's a heavy, medium, or light tank. If you're a newer player, you got stuff like the tank model. It'll tell you the KV1 or whatever. And, just use your best judgment, whatever works best for you. Moving on to the HUD. You can change your crosshair in this game, your reticle. By default, it's the crosshair. You can change it to the aim point or the A-shaped reticle. I prefer the original crosshair setting myself. You can change your shot results if the game tells you how much damage you did or if it bounced or not. I would keep that on. You can change your mini map size if you got a small touch screen and the mini map's too big. You want a little more area on your screen to touch. You can change it to a 1x size map or 2x size, 3x, or you can turn it off completely, which I would highly not recommend. Uh, I recommend you learn how to read your map, watch where your enemies are, watch where your teammates are. So I would suggest keeping your mini map on. You have stuff like the rangefinder. This tells you how far a tank is from you when you're zoomed in on that tank. You got stuff like the skill and equipment indicator that tell you what tanks are equipped with what and etc. You got the reload icon in the team list, which doesn't really matter, but if you want to pay attention to who shot and who's reloading, you can see that on your team list. You got a reload timer that'll tell you how many seconds left until you're reloaded again. You got the movement direction indicator. This is more or less for a newer player. This shows what direction your tank is going to be going. Left, right, forward, backwards. It looks kind of silly in battle. I turn it off. I know which direction my tank is going to be going. You can turn ribbons on or off. It'll display ribbons you've received in battle. If you turn it off, it'll only show those ribbons after the battle. So moving on, we got other, your language setting there. And by default, after every update, the game has the battle chat on only team. So if you want to see what the other team is saying in battle, especially if you're kicking their butts in battle and you want to see them complaining, calling you a bot or whatever, you have to come into the settings and switch it to team and general. You'll be able to talk to the other team or listen to the other team's messages. This is only for the NA server. For some reason, the EU server screwed it up years ago. They get only team. And as soon as you die in battle, then you can't chat at all. So switch it to team in general if you want to see what the other team is saying. You got music settings. I don't like the music in this game. I find it pretty annoying, so I generally turn it all the way down. If you want to rock out to World of Tanks music, maybe you want to crank it up to 100. So if you're like me and you got multiple monitors and stuff and you're watching YouTube, Netflix or something as while playing World of Tanks and the gunshots are too loud, you can turn down the volume there. If you're a player that doesn't like getting clan invites or invites to training rooms or friend requests, there's settings to turn all those off. I would recommend you keep all these settings on because there's a lot of cool people in this game and you never know who you're going to meet. You might actually make some really good friends. And by default, the game records your replays with a replay limit of 10 replays. You can change this setting. If you want the game to save 100 replays for you, you can bring it up to 100. Or if you don't want them to save replays at all, you can shut it off if you don't got enough space on your device to save these replays. But by default, the game puts it at 10 replays. So if you want more than that, you have to go into these settings and move it up. All right. So some other settings is right here, these three little rings that are connected right here. Not really settings, I guess, but more tips. This will give you access to the World of Tanks Facebook, the World of Tanks YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, the World of Tanks official Discord, and a couple World of Tanks websites. One of these websites, I'm not sure which one it is the one that you should be able to enter bonus codes on. All you have to do is click on them. It'll direct you to that site. Now, one thing I get all the time is, players asking to platoon with me or players saying that nobody wants to platoon with them. Or they'll ask in chat, hey, does somebody want to platoon? And nobody answers. Well, some people don't look at the chat all the time. So this is what I tell players to do is just go to your messages right here, click on it. You'll see all the players online right now. And you click on any player that's online, and in the top right, you will see invite to platoon. This is what I recommend you do. If you really want to platoon with people, just click on all these people and invite them to a platoon. Sooner or later, one of these players is going to accept your invitation, and then you'll have a platoon partner. I think I covered most of the basic settings and little tips that I could think of. If I missed anything, please leave it in the comments. Please leave a like and subscribe. I would appreciate it. And thanks for watching. Have a great day, everybody.